I'm Melissa Shanahan, and this is the Velocity Work Podcast, episode number 101. This podcast is for attorneys who are running their own firms. We explore tactics, tools, and stories related to pushing past simply lawyering well and into building a successful firm. Working in your firm and working on your business are two very different things. This podcast focuses on the latter. Hey everyone, welcome to this week's episode. I am pumped to talk to you about the 3 stages of awareness today because I talk about it a lot with my clients. It's a tool, not a tool, but it's an awareness tool about awareness, if you will. And it helps provide a bit of a framework for you, no matter where you are, to increase your awareness and change how you operate with a given scenario. So we're going to talk about that. I will give you some tips on how to think about it because it'll make it easier for you to make the shifts that you want to make in terms of habits, like how you habitually show up. Before we get into that, I want to make sure everybody knows the deal about what's going on with the September Sprint. So the September Sprint is coming, and we are opening up enrollment and closing enrollment earlier than we typically do. Usually we butt up enrollment right up to the sprint start date. So like maybe enrollment will close a week before the sprint. No more. We are backing that up. It's just better. It's more organized. It's better for the clients. It's better for us. It just makes sense. So enrollment opens for the September Sprint this week. If you are interested in joining the September Sprint, go to velocitywork.com/sprint and get on the first to know list because we will email that batch of subscribers first before everybody else. And the reason that it makes sense to do that for you all is because the spots are limited and the time slots are limited. So there's only a certain number of spots for a certain time slot. So you get your first dibs earlier if you know first. And then when after the first to know people sign up, then we release the remaining time slots to the rest of the world. So spots are limited. These are popular. They are the best. They're popular for a reason. If you don't know what a 30-day sprint is, you can go to velocitywork.com/sprint to check it out, learn all the details. Everything is spelled out there. But essentially, it is an awesome way to have community and accountability in creating one result that you're going to name that month. And every day we show up and we each state, not me, I lead it, but you all state what's the one thing you're going to do that day towards your result. And the next day you report in on it. You give a lesson learned about how you operated, and we keep trucking. And so you do this every day. The camaraderie is so wonderful. It's the coolest. People get close. They're all rooting for one another. And at the end of the month, everybody has created something and they've blown their own damn mind. It's awesome. So definitely go check it out. It's very hands-on with me. And yeah, there's zero chance you would regret doing a sprint. So if you're thinking about it, go over there, get yourself on the first to know list. Enrollment is opening up this week and we will send the details to you. Now, the only other thing I'm going to say about that is because we're opening this up earlier, I can see where some people are like, well, I don't know if I want to do it in September. Make a call, make a decision. Because if you say yes to doing the sprint, and if it's a yes, it's a yes. If it's a no, it's a no. I am detached from what your answer is, but don't hem and haw. Just make a decision what makes sense. And the reason I am going to encourage you to use the September Sprint is because it's rounding out Q3. Q4 is not a full quarter. We have holidays. It's short. So you want to make sure you're finishing Q3 strong so that you head into Q4 organized, ready to roll. You feel really good about what you got done in Q3 and yeah, et cetera, et cetera. So that's why these are strategically timed through the year to be helpful for this reason. So use it. That's my best advice. And if you're like, I don't know what I'm going to do in September, just decide ahead of time so you can show up and blow your own mind in September. That's my advice. Okay, well, with that, let's get into the 3 stages of awareness. So the 3 stages of awareness I'm going to walk you through are to help you when you want to shift how you are showing up. So let me walk you through the stages first, and then we'll give some examples. The first stage of awareness is after you have had an experience and you are reflecting on the experience and you are realizing You wish you would have done it differently. You wish you would have remembered to do it differently, but you didn't. And upon reflection, you are realizing it. That is stage 1 awareness. The second stage of awareness is that in the middle of the situation, you're able to catch yourself and pivot or shift right in the moment. And so then you actually do operate the way you want to, but it's very conscious. You have to be very conscious about it. And the third stage of awareness is when you don't have to think about it anymore. It's almost like you just decide ahead of time, and it's kind of how you roll. It's a habit and it's all ahead of time. And so then you roll seamlessly through the entire scenario or situation, operating the way that you want to operate. And there wasn't a lot of hard thinking in the middle of it and or needing to reflect afterwards to shift it. So those are the 3 stages of awareness. And when I talk about this, it reminds me a lot of the quadrant. It goes from unconscious incompetence all the way up to unconscious competence. And so I'm going to talk about that right now too, because it'll help you think about the stages of awareness. When you are mastering something, when you're going for mastery, in the beginning, you don't even know what you don't know. You're like unconsciously incompetent. It's like you're just bumbling around, right? And then once you start to wake up and you realize, oh, these are the things I need to learn, I need to do. So then you become conscious of your incompetence. Once you sit there for a bit and you work with that, you end up moving, if you're still focusing on whatever the subject matter is, you end up moving into conscious competence. Conscious meaning you have to think hard about the actions that you're taking. And it's work, mental work, to actually show up and be competent. But then eventually, with much practice, you get yourself to this place of unconscious competence, which is this level of mastery in that you don't have to think at all. You're just really good at it. So, I think about any skill that you bring. Think about it with lawyering, right? When you're in law school, you don't even know what you don't know. You are just in the learning of it. And then you, at some point, move into conscious incompetence where you understand you aren't good at X, Y, and Z. And then you move into conscious competence, which is you practicing and you're getting good at it, but you have to think really hard to do well. It takes a lot of cognitive effort to do well. But then eventually you get yourself to a place with some aspect of lawyering, and probably many aspects of lawyering, where you don't even have to think, you're just freaking awesome at it. And it's a way to showcase this movement through competency. So I love thinking about that. I think about it a lot for myself, but sometimes it simplifies it for me with these 3 stages of awareness. So for example, if I have a tendency to lose my patience with someone or something, then what I've used this before where after the fact I'm reflecting, I'm like, man, I could have acted better. I could have shown up better. I didn't need to lose my cool or act frustrated or irritated, right? I can use it as reflection and I can think through, how do I want to handle that next time? How do I want to think about that same scenario next time? And how do I want to act and show up and et cetera, et cetera. So then that usually happens a lot, time and time again. I reflect and I'm like, man, shit, I forgot, right? Like I'm not remembering and I'm reflecting on it afterwards. And it's so easy to be so frustrated with that stage of awareness. But eventually, if you keep reflecting, you keep having lessons learned, and you keep reminding yourself how you want to show up, what happens is you will start to catch yourself in the moment. So you won't be unconscious in the moment anymore. It's like, no, I'm consciously going to choose how I want to think and feel in this situation and how I want to act in this situation. So you catch yourself before just default behavior comes out. And it may feel unnatural, it may feel awkward, but you end up doing things in a way that you want, more in line with the way you want to be, right? And then enough of that practice, eventually You just know ahead of time, like how you want to be and how you want to show up. And it starts to become your normal. And so that's really the third stage of awareness, is this overarching sense of like, this is how I roll. I have an awareness and I walk with this awareness all the way through. I think of stage 3 awareness as unconscious competence. So I'm hoping that these 3 stages of awareness, just understanding it and having talked through the competency model, that it helps you think of a specific scenario for yourself where you want to do things differently, but you don't think of it in the moment. And after the fact, it's like, dang, that could be anything. It could be with how you show up in a relationship, how you are with your employees. It could be how you act with clients. It could be overeating. It could be over drinking. It could be how you spend your time in the day, like time management and productivity. And are you honoring the plan that you made? Are you honoring your calendar or not? And it's like 2:00 in the afternoon, and you realize like, I have not done anything on my calendar. I have not done anything that I said I was going to do, but you didn't even really realize it. You're just on your train, right? When you have that reflective moment, that's stage 1 awareness. And then you can move to stage 2 and start to catch yourself in the middle of it and make a conscious decision about what you want to do. And then eventually you practice that enough, and then you can start to move into stage 3 awareness, which is that unconscious competency. But here's what I'll say. Most people expect themselves the first time that they are in stage 1 awareness, the first time they're reflecting and they're like, oh, I wish I would have done that differently. It's almost like they have this expectation of themselves that next time they're going to be in stage 2 awareness. Next time they're going to catch themselves in the moment. That doesn't happen very often. It usually takes a lot of time, a lot of instances where you are reflecting and like, man, it's like you almost settle into that awareness and you practice and cultivate the awareness very consistently. And then finally, there is a time where you do remember in the middle of it, which is stage 2 awareness. And I will say you can set up little tricks and tips to get yourself to remember. There could be a sticky note in your computer, or if there's something at your desk where you tend to not remember till after the fact. Like you can give yourself reminders or try to have something pop up so that you remember in the moment. But oftentimes you don't have that. And so it takes a while for you to be able to cultivate the awareness in the moment. Have patience with yourself on that. You are a human, not a robot. And just understanding the different stages of awareness is enough that it will kick it into a better gear for you. But it's probably not going to happen where one day you reflect and realize you want to do it differently. The next day you catch yourself in the middle. And then the next day you're mastered it. No, that is not how this works. So really think about these 3 stages of awareness as something that you move through, and it takes time. But it's all a part of the process. It's a part of progress. I'm hoping that by sharing with you these 3 stages, it makes it easier for you to find where you are on the continuum so that you can experience and feel the progress as you go. I hope that makes sense. So that's what I've got for you today. You can apply this to anything that you want to shift or change how you show up and how you operate. It requires awareness. If you don't have awareness, you can't change anything. And so I'm hoping that by framing the awareness in this way, you can start to think differently about the journey of shifting into a different way of operating. And you can start to think differently about how to handle each stage when you're really unconscious, like you don't even know. And then eventually you realize, I want to do that better, right? So stage 1 is more like the conscious incompetence level. And then stage 2 is where in the moment you are catching yourself, and that's conscious competence. And then stage 3 is more like the unconscious competence. All right, everybody, go out there and create some mastery for yourselves using this awareness tool about awareness. All right, everyone, have a great week. I'll see you here next week. Hey there. If you enjoyed this podcast, I highly recommend you come and check out Mastery Group. It is where owner attorneys come together to study this material, apply it, and thus create really big results for their firm and for their life. So come on over, velocitywork.com/join to get more information and get started. Show notes from this episode can be found at velocitywork.com/podcast.